G'day folks, ZiggyD here, and I recently got to go to Sydney with a small group of other content creators. Thanks to 2K for flying me out and sponsoring this video so that I can showcase some of the world's first hands-on gameplay from Borderlands 4. This video is a first look at the open world gameplay at low levels, playing on Vex the Siren. It was my first hands-on experience, so let me take you through what I learned as I explore a small slice of what the game is set to offer. In particular, the super challenging Airship wreck event that I took on later on. After a brief chat, they just set us loose on the large open world that the game is now sporting. And they told us to do whatever we wanted with this too. It's more freedom than I'm usually given in these sorts of events. The only tip they really gave us was the first nearby tracked quest event would get us a hover bike for getting around, so they recommend doing that first. But the real first thing I did, of course, was open the menus and take a look at the guns and skills and things like that. The main thing that I actually achieved during this process was to accidentally unequip my action skill, which took me way too long to actually notice that I'd done so. An unfamiliar UI will do that, I guess. But honestly, the fact that it took me so long to actually notice that I didn't even have an action skill, it's kind of a testament to how good just like the basic movement and low-level gunplay felt. I didn't even really think to even try using my action skill for quite a few minutes because I was just having fun shooting and jumping around. So this was at level 5 with just a real basic kit, and it felt good. You can slide and mantle and glide now, and there's even a grapple hook to zoom around, which is quite fun. Though I kind of wish you could use it in more places than just the specific latch-on points. Happy to say the butt slam is back too. I was a big fan of that maneuver. And overall, this feels like a good combination and progression of the movement improvements from both the pre-sequel and Borderlands 3. On-foot movement was always my least favorite parts of the first two games, so I'm really happy to see that this is something they're really pushing further. The shooting felt quite good too, and pretty much every gun had a gimmick or alternate fire mode to make things more interesting. I'm pretty bad for mostly just using hipfire in these games. It's kind of like a holdover relic from a dislike of the earlier game's iron sights. Though I am happy to note that the scopes and sights on a lot of the weapons that I tried here felt really good in that regard for both aiming and visibility. So at the start I had a few little fun firefights, experimented with the guns that I found, and I messed around on the bike while exploring. Honestly, a lot of this stuff is going to be the same across the various content creators you look at, so I'm going to skip over on this and focus on some of the stuff that might be a bit more unique. Once I realized I was missing my action skill, I did start testing each of the different options for the class. The Siren Vex is who I was playing. I did try the Exo Soldier Rafa in a later session, but I stuck with Vex for this open world first look in this video here. I really liked her kit a lot, especially the 4th seal, the Necromancer style tree at the higher levels. You'll see all of the action skills a little bit in this video here, but obviously this is at low levels, so there's not really much of a build to speak of, more so just a look at exploration, movement, guns, and the sorts of events and things that are in the open world. That said, here's a little quick overview of Vex's 3 skill trees and action skills. The first is Here Comes Trouble with the Phase Familiar. Basically, this is a duo team with your Panther Doggo named Trouble. The active use of the skill teleports Trouble with an explosion and turns them into a badass for a bit. I quite like how the minion has a ranged attack too with its tail. Like, look at it snipe this baddie from 18 furlongs away. What a good doggo. The next tree is Vexcalation with the Incarnate action skill, which turns you into an elemental avatar with an explosion. You then move around faster and you gain an Eldritch Blast that you can fire with your offhand. It's meant to be comboed with shooting as gun damage lowers the Eldritch Blast cooldown. And that sounds pretty cool, and I think it will be cool at higher levels, but it's not super impressive at low levels compared to how powerful the pet skills tend to feel early on. The final tree is the 4th seal with the Dead Ring action skill, and this was my favorite. This one lets you summon several phase clone minions in either melee Reaper forms or ranged Spectre forms. And the Reapers fly too. They do a great job dealing with enemies and causing mayhem and distracting tough enemies to take the pressure off you, which I really appreciated. This one really comes in clutch for that Airship wreck event that I do later on, as that ended up being very hard. So after I got my bike, I had a bit of an explore, I found a few enemy camps and cleared some locations and upgraded my gear a bit. I did end up finding this puzzle that I couldn't just help to try and figure out, just to kind of see what it was hiding. Using the main piece, send some energy beams out, and that showed me where to get to disable several orbs, which did take a little bit of exploring and jumping, so a bit of a jumping puzzle here to figure out this one. In the end, it ended up being a collectible audio log, a bit like Tannis's Echo logs from Borderlands 3, and it seems to give some kind of currency or points to unlock things, perhaps.
My name is Nereid, and I am many things. A protector, a sister, a siren.
A little while after this, I ended up having a serious showdown with a badass mangler.
Worship me! Reload! Fire!
That felt like a pretty cool moment. They made the creatures feel a bit more vicious in the way that they move around, but still being quite evadable. And on that note, there's actually like a quick dodge to the side movement ability that I just didn't know about until a later session. But I wanted to mention it here because since I didn't get a chance to use and showcase it. Something that always felt a bit iffy to me in the earlier games was moving around to avoid certain enemies and bosses attacks and things like that. I just felt like so slow and like I couldn't avoid anything. Things seem to feel a lot more fair and less sluggish here when it comes to staying safe. So after enjoying the wildlife of the grasslands for a bit, I finally check out what has been causing all that ruckus, because there's been this kind of like humming in the background. So it turns out there's like, I look up and I'm like, oh, an airship base. And there's just like airships floating there. So this is the site of a higher level event that we were kind of explicitly warned to avoid somewhat. Airship wreck is said to be a bit too spicy. So naturally, I was keen to check it out. So going into this section, I want you to keep two things in mind and not judge me too harshly, okay? Please? These enemies are much higher level than me. See the exclamation marks next to the health bars telling me, we're out of your league, mate. Right? And this is all blind as well. So like proper blind, not kind of blind, but I heard my friends talking about how you play the game sort of blind. This is the, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm learning something for the first time. I don't even know what the game expects of me. That kind of blind, you know, like proper true blind. You just don't get that very much these days, do you? Also, the sun was in my eyes. But on that note, this is a challenge event where you're supposed to cause as much damage to the Order faction as possible. That's the overall goal here. Killing enemies, blowing things up, and destroying some of the equipment in the areas gives both loot and points towards the grand prize at the end of the event. So I don't figure it out until later, but see those trucks with the shielded cargo? Those, for example, can be disabled by removing 2 fuel rods from them for loot and points. After a while, a ship will pull up, and then you can get on board it to continue your ruckus. But I don't even know that that's what you're supposed to do, so when it announces that the ship's leaving, I'm like, oh, what? The ship's leaving? I thought I had all the time in the world. So I panic, and I try and like get on the gravity lift, and I screw up. I don't even get on the ship. I like fall out of the side and awkwardly float there for a while. Hilariously bad effort. Thankfully, the event has more to offer. More enemies come out, there's a bit more combat, and then after a while, another ship pulls up, and I realize, oh, there's multiple ships, you can go on each one. Okay, so let's try. So I get up there just in time for the purge sequence that fries me. Great. Good second effort.
Incineration commencing in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so a bit embarrassing, but I'm starting to clue into what I'm supposed to be doing. For the third ship, I'm a bit more prepared. I hang out, I'm defending myself while I wait for it to arrive, so that I'm ready to jump in right away, right? I'm not going to miss it this time. But then I screw up and die trying to fight a badass that I had no business really getting this close to, given the level gap. So I lose like a lot of time trying to get aboard, especially because I couldn't help but go for revenge on the badass and kill them first with my new power after doing some respecking. So I finally get on board after wasting all of the time possible, and I have like a little bit of a chance to figure out what I can do up here. So the left UI has a clue. Unlock armory door 0 of 3. Okay, cool. So the ship has a specific objective. I loot and I blow some things up, but it takes me a while to actually find what I'm looking for. In hindsight, you really want to focus on looting and the specific objectives. Things will get just destroyed as you fight, you'll earn those points. And doing the main objectives I think is far more important. You probably don't need to destroy every single explosive canister like I do. So it's not until the ship begins the final security countdown that I figure out what I'm actually looking for. Classic.
Commencing self-immolation sequence.
Quite simply, it's just a red button right in the middle here. It's like a red button. Oh, right. Okay, so I push it and that opens the first of 3 security doors. Like, wow, brilliant. What a genius. Good job, Ziggy. And then the objective changes to unlock command door. Okay, so you're supposed to go room by room and unlock each of these doors to get to the grand final prize. But obviously at this point, I'm out of time, so I should probably leave. But, you know, I go on a desperate run for science, of course. It looks like possibly some type of glowing wires puzzle. You probably have to follow them and then press a button or put something in somewhere. The ship fries me, so, you know, that's a puzzle for another day. So now I'm basically crying IRL at the event. I'm sitting there, I'm shaking. I'm real embarrassed. I need to make footage that you're all going to be able to see, right? But your career as a YouTuber is on the line, and I don't even know if another ship's coming at this point. But I kind of have an idea now. I figure out what the MO is for this whole event. You're supposed to get in there and fight and loot and cause mayhem at the base while waiting for ships. You're supposed to get aboard each ship as quick as possible. When you're up there, you figure out what type of ship it is because they're all different. And then you loot, destroy, or puzzle your way to whatever the objective is on the ship. And then you get out before getting fried, right? Okay, cool. I have an idea of what I'm supposed to do. And the better you manage to do everything here, the better the end rewards, but also the more loot you get on the way too, as each objective and ship and thing has its own loot, it seems. There's just like loot everywhere. My inventory was full after this. Thankfully, there's one more ship, so I have a final chance to prove myself. To get some footage I can post here on YouTube without feeling like a complete loser. It's all on the line.
Maybe let's not do that again.
So, I'm there. I'm ready to go. And I'm on it right away this time. No time wasting. What do I have to do? Okay, it's a self-destruct button. Cool. We're gonna try and blow this thing up. Let's do it. Between my failures, I did some quick build changes as well. So now I use my Reaper power to distract the higher level enemies so that I can focus, and that helps a lot. I find a canister dispenser, but at first I'm just thinking, oh, they're for blowing up enemies. So I just lob a few of them around. But I think, oh wait, maybe these are to power something. You know, games do that sometimes. Sure enough, I'm right. It looks like there are 2 needed to open the door to get into where the self-destruct button is. On it, let's go, go, go.
Purging systems activating.
But these events are built to be a real challenge. Even though I was right on top of this, going maximum effort lock-in mode, I get the door open just as the final countdown is going.
Preparing self-defense incineration. Incineration commencing in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, not bad. Here's a little something just for you.
And I couldn't believe it. In the last seconds, I managed to slam the button, heal through the incinerators, so you get like a little bit of a leeway there, and then make that epic getaway. My self-esteem, and more importantly, my career as a YouTuber is saved. When I land, I look up at the sky, and there's like these missiles firing up into the air, and they pop, and purple loot rains out of them. It's very Borderlands. It's like, yeah, cool, here's your loot via missile. Good, great, tactical loot strike. Pretty good haul too, despite the fact that I only managed to hit silver due to my poor performance on the first 3 ships. Like not even getting on board 2 of them, right? But that's the fun of doing something like this blind for the first time, right? It's like, it's quite exhilarating not having any clue what I was doing and only just managing to get there in the end. I'm fully expecting and hoping that there'll be more events like this in the game. I imagine this is kind of setting up a template for things we'll do later on, and it's cool content. Without a lot of hand-holding too. You just kind of throw it in like, here's something challenging where you can get lots of loot. Figure it out. It was pretty high effort, but it certainly did give lots of loot in the end. I walked away with quite a few purples and a very full inventory. And that was doing pretty poorly. So I can only imagine, you know, maybe we get ourselves a nice legend if we manage to get out of gold or platinum. So as the time ran down on this session, I managed to find this strange bubble with a mini-boss inside. But as I was fighting it, time was called and they just dragged me away from the PC before I could finish it. They're like, no, pulled the plug on me. Ugh, such a tease. But don't worry, we did have a second session on a much higher level character that I can show in my next video. And by that point, I was much more comfortable with the game. I look a little bit more professional, I think. The builds were really good, and I managed, I think, some pretty impressive feats that I'm proud of. So I'm looking forward to sharing that video with you soon in the coming days. Keep an eye out for it. Thanks once again to 2K for having me out there. I'm excited. You know, it's been a while since I came out for pre-sequel and Borderlands 3, and I enjoyed the whole thing for each of those games. The content that I've made for some of these games has been things that I've like really remembered and that have stuck with me, so I'm keen for that to happen again here. But anyway, that's it for now. I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.